In 1970s Britain, you didn't need a mansion or a Rolls-Royce to look well off. Often a single domestic detail, the right phone, the right bathroom color, a freezer in the garage, was enough for the whole street to know you were doing well. I've got 17 of those signals in this film, and if you grew up in the 70s, you'll recognize every one. Start with what you could hear before you saw it, a home telephone. In the early 70s, only about a third of British households had one. Most people still walked to the red phone box on the corner with a handful of coins. If your family had a phone at home, people noticed. And if it was a trim phone, they talked about it for weeks. The trim phone was something else, two-tone in color, and instead of ringing like a normal phone it warbled, a strange electronic chirp that no other sound on the street matched. The dial glowed green in the dark, and it cost extra on top of the standard quarterly phone charge. You could get one in grey and white, grey and green, or two-tone blue. Most people had the standard black phone, if they had one at all. The trim phone was for those who wanted something better and were happy to pay for it. Next, the soda stream. If you had one on the kitchen worktop, you were signaling comfort. That machine, with its fat gas cylinder and row of flavored syrups, turned tap water into fizzy drinks at the push of a button. You remember the sound, the pressurized hiss and gurgle as the gas forced its way into the bottle. Kids loved it. Parents loved showing it off to visitors. The advertising made sure everyone knew about it. Get busy with the fizzy became one of the most famous slogans in Britain. They sold syrups that imitated brand drinks like Tizer, Sunkist, and even Iron Brew. At its peak, around 40% of British homes had a soda stream, but in the early to mid-70s owning one still meant you had spare money to spend on niceties, and that is exactly why it impressed. Then there's something that seems almost mad now, wall-to-wall carpet. Not just in the lounge, in the bathroom too, shag pile right around the base of the toilet up to the bath, covering every inch of floor. People were proud of it. Deep, thick pile, usually in a shade of brown or burnt orange. If your bathroom was carpeted, you were sending a clear message. This house was warm enough, modern enough, and wealthy enough to have soft flooring where most families had cold lino. It looked luxurious and felt luxurious, even if that shag pile absorbed every splash and wore out fastest beside the bath. Walk into a home and your feet hit deep carpet instead of freezing lino, and you knew immediately what kind of house you were in. While we are in the bathroom, color mattered too. If that suite was avocado green, that was serious money. Bath, basin, and toilet all in the same deep green, much more expensive than plain white. Manufacturers charged a premium for color, and fitting an entire suite wasn't cheap. Some homes paired avocado suites with dark tiles and gold-colored taps. Today it looks a little daft. Then, an avocado bathroom announced that the whole street knew you'd spent proper money on your home. A foreign holiday did the same. If your family went abroad, you were practically royalty on the estate. Most families in 1970s Britain went to Butlins, or Skegness, or a caravan in Wales. Spain was another world. The Costa Brava was a place people saw in brochures but never actually visited. If your family flew to Spain, you came back with a tan, a straw donkey, and stories very different from a week at home. You didn't have to leave the country to show you were doing well. Often it was where your mum bought the school uniform. If the label inside your blazer said St. Michael, people knew that was Marks and Spencer. While most families bought uniforms from the local market or a catalogue, Marks and Spencer was a different league. Better fabric, better stitching, and a price to match. Shopping at M&S wasn't just about clothes. Their food hall was legendary even in the 70s. If your mum came home with M&S carrier bags instead of ones from the co-op, the family was doing well. You could tell a lot about a household from the bags in the kitchen. And then there was the freezer. Not the little ice box at the top of the fridge, but a proper chest freezer, usually in the garage or utility room, big enough to store weeks of food. In the early 70s, fewer than 1 in 10 households had a freezer. By 1974, only about 11% of homes had one. Owning one meant trips to B-Jam, the frozen food chain that sold everything in bulk. It was a different way of living. You had the space for a chest freezer and the money to fill it. While most families shopped day to day at the corner shop, a chest freezer household shopped for the month. Central heating was another wedge between households. In 1970, only about a third of homes had central heating. That meant 2 out of every 3 families were still depending on a single coal fire downstairs and nothing else. Bedrooms were cold. You could see your breath and ice formed on the inside of the windows. Mornings were a scramble. You grabbed your clothes and ran downstairs to dress at the fire. A house with radiators in every room changed that life completely. You could walk around in a jumper instead of 3 layers and a coat. The bathroom was warm, the bedrooms were warm, the place felt modern, comfortable, and utterly different from the houses most people grew up in. Installing central heating was costly, and the running bills were not small. If your home had it in the early 70s, you were living a different standard from most of the country. Colour television told a similar story. Colour sets arrived in Britain in the late 60s, but they remained expensive well into the 70s. Most families either rented a black and white set or saved for months to buy one. A brand new colour television could cost over £300, the equivalent of thousands today. Walk into a living room and see colour pictures on the screen, and you were unmistakably in a different kind of household. Watching Match of the Day in colour while your mates watched it in black and white felt like living in the future. And if the family owned the set outright rather than renting it, that was an extra rung on the ladder. The car on the driveway spoke even more loudly. Plenty of families in the 70s had no car at all. They walked, took the bus, or relied on lifts. If your family had one, you were comfortable. If it was new, you were doing well. And if it was a Rover or a Jaguar, the whole street took notice. A Rover 2000 on the driveway, polished on Sundays and admired by neighbours, was a clear signal. Cars were expensive to